The average agent has at least 200 or 300 people in their phone right now who already know them, trust them, and would even list with them if they were asked. Most agents never even ask. They spend more money on Zillow, paid leads, social media ads, while their single best lead source sits completely untouched. So stop that. Today, we're going to talk about the system to end that problem.
Welcome to Real Estate Coaching Radio, starring award-winning real estate coaches and #1 international best-selling authors, Tim and Julie Harris. This is the #1 daily radio show for realtors looking for a no BS, authentic real-time coaching experience. What's really working in today's market, how to generate more leads, make more money, and have more time for what you love in your life. And now, your hosts, Tim and Julie Harris.
Your database is a gold mine if you know how to use it, and if you don't overly complicate it, and if you don't drip on them forever, you actually use it correctly, which we're going to show you how to do on today's show. So here's how to work your database at the highest level in 2026. So here's the reality. According to NAR, after 5 years, something like 80% of the average agent's business comes from centers of influence and past clients. That does not mean that after 5 years, that you're automatically going to get 80% of your business from your centers of influence and past clients. It doesn't just happen automatically. You actually have to work your centers of influence and past clients. And and I'll just overview this for you guys so you can get it clear in your head. You can overly complicate it, and most people do. Most of you have been sold into the belief that you have to have these complicated, ridiculous 77, 27, 37 touch systems. You're supposed to have all these tchotchke systems where you're dropping crap off at their house on a regular basis, and just all this stuff, mountains and mountains of stuff, all these things, all these buffers between you and the actual human is what many of you believe is the way to go about building your centers of influence and past clients list. And I'm here to tell you that if that's your belief, there's no wonder why you're not getting more business from your centers of influence and your past clients. It's because you have made it so they're ignoring you. In a day and age where AI is so ubiquitous, where everyone's essentially doing the same thing, if you think that doing digital marketing of any kind, liking on Facebook, sending them a digital happy birthday card, even doing direct mail, dropping off pumpkin pies in November. Now, all those things, if you do them correctly, those are nice little touch points, but nothing, especially now, because of AI, is going to replace a real call from a real human calling another real human and having a real conversation. That's only second to actually seeing people in real life, person to person. If you want to build a moat around your business and your future cash flows, please listen to what Jules and I are telling you, and anyone else, frankly, in our industry that's being honest. The moat is no longer your complicated systems. The moat is no longer your social media or your brand. None of those things necessarily were your moat to begin with, because everyone had them. Your moat now is your ability to communicate with folks. That is something that all of you, communicate is a crappy word because it means a million different things. What people don't understand, and because an enormous number of you, us included, by the way, we weren't trained to know how to communicate. Every conversation that most people have is designed to be transactional. That's what it is. Now, I'm not just talking a sales conversation where it's obvious that it's transactional, right? You're trying to help someone buy something. That's not even what I'm talking about. In real life, virtually all conversations, they're not true communication like what we're talking about. You're communicating, but it's transactional communication. Even when you're going and walking your dog and you ran to your other neighbor and you're, transactionally saying hello and they're saying hello back, that's just you being polite because you don't want them to say anything bad about you to the neighbors because you walked past them that didn't say anything, those types of things. That's a transactional conversation. That's not what I'm talking about. What you've got to open your mind to, and I know, again, this is an abstract topic for many of you, is real communication rarely happens because most of us have never been trained in the art and science of really learning how to get past the normal transactional nature of conversations. Transactional, I'll give you guys another example. How many of you, when talking with someone else, are just in your mind's going a million miles a minute, and you're wanting to tell them your story? So the transaction is they're telling you about their weekend, you're going to tell them about your weekend. In other words, it's a give and a flow, it's an ebb and a flow, it's them, telling you about their highlights reel of their life and you doing the same thing. Each of you making each other feel somewhat good. What I'm suggesting is when you're having that same conversation, you're talking about your weekend, instead of urgently rushing, waiting on bated breath to talk about your weekend, ask some more questions about what they did. Make it a game. And this is what we teach you guys. And Julian, I'll tell you where Jules and I really learned this. It wasn't from selling houses. It was from coaching. We've personally done well over 100,000 paid coaching calls each, far more than that. We stopped counting at 100,000 a long time ago because that was enough. Anyway, so in a coaching relationship, you don't just ask a customer who's paying you a question and then there's the answer. Transactional, right? It's not just let's analyze your numbers. How many contacts did you make and all the rest of it? That's lazy coaching. In real coaching, what you're listening for, what you're intuitively working on is your ability to hear what they're saying, listen to what they're saying, and then have the developed skills to know what they're not saying and then talking about that. So you can have levels of communication with people. And some of you are blessed to have someone in your life that's like that. You'll have somebody that'll listen to you and then they'll hear what you're saying. Okay, those are the words that Bob just used. But I wonder why Bob's even talking about this. Like, I wonder what's going on with Bob's life. He seems a little down, or intuitively you're going to have these pangs. And even if you're more analytical in nature, like my lovely wife, she doesn't necessarily register these intuitive pangs as intuition. She just thinks it's thinking. I'm not going to overly define what all these sort of woo-woo terms mean, but I want you to understand that if you want to build a moat around yourself in the future, it's going to come from your ability to connect with people through communication at a high level that doesn't feel transactional. Open your mind to that, because that is your safe harbor, no matter how ubiquitous and domineering AI becomes, which it inevitably is.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of the social media and the AI stuff, at least for now, you already see it happening, is becoming more of a source of entertainment and fun and creativity versus having real world conversations, in this case about real estate. You know what I mean? It's like, am I going to go like right to TikTok to find my realtor? Probably not. Okay. But what I remember, the top of this podcast, sitting there right in your phone are however many people are in your contacts that are in your contacts. You put them in your phone because you know each other. You probably even have notes on them. They know, love, and trust you. And yet, how many of you don't regularly speak with them in real life, having real conversations? And I think what you're talking about, Tim, is to not just do, you call it transactional. I look at it as like a reciprocal type of batting the ball back and forth. Hi, Tim, how are you? I'm great. How are you? Okay, that's just how people talk with each other, right? And you tell me what you did this weekend, and I tell you what I did this weekend. And that's the kind of the lazy pattern that we're all in. It's friendly, it's fun, that's fine. But when you're really trying to connect with somebody, it's asking better questions. We teach the Ford memory jogger, family, occupation, recreation, dreams. You often, when you run into somebody, we run into friends all the time that are visiting Dorado, or EXP family will come and visit. You'll say, what's the best thing you did since I last saw you?
No, it's what's the best thing that happened in your life? And I don't say business.
Yes.
I avoid business. What's the best thing that happened in your life since the last time we spoke or the last time I saw you?
Yeah.
And they'll say whatever it is, and you just let them talk and you ask questions about what they said.
Just listen and you go deeper.
Right. And so you got to think about it. When was the last time you had a conversation with anybody where they showed a real sincere, well, after you got done talking to them, you felt like you were actually sincerely listened to. You were heard. When was the last time that happened?
Pretty rare these days.
Yeah, almost like never, because no one, I want you guys to be clear. And Julie and I talked about this a lot over the last week. We're trying to help. We know intuitively where this is all going. We feel that communication is going to be the key. We know that most people don't ever communicate because we're living in modern society as well. In the Western cultures, we've all been trained to basically think and act transactionally. Social media has exponentially made that worse. And now it's all basically, essentially pushing out messaging and all these things. So many of us have never actually been learned the importance of having a conversation that's not an ego-drilled, focused conversation about yourself, but where you're sincerely trying to get to know somebody. Hopefully you've had those experiences in the past where somebody took the time. Many of you, it'll have been when you had a shrink or you had a counselor or maybe you had a good spouse or a friend. You'll remember on one hand the people you actually have ever felt connected to. And if you then take that, okay, who are those? What are the qualities and characteristics of those people? What do they have? And Julie and I've done this. This is how you have to do this to be a great coach. So what are those qualities and characteristics? They don't talk about themselves. They very rarely, you should think about what I'm saying, write these things down. They very rarely use personal pronouns. They won't say I. They're not manipulative in the way they speak, but they're skilled in how they speak. So they're not like overly reliant on NLP books and manuals, but they do know the importance of using somebody's name because people love their name. They do know the importance of when somebody says something, acknowledge the fact what they said and acknowledge it in many different ways. Oh, we went to, we're going to Tennessee and we're going to see some family in Knoxville or whatever. Knoxville, that's exciting. Good, go for, are you driving or are you flying? Well, we're going to probably drive. Driving, when are you leaving? Oh, that's a perfect time to be there because the temperatures aren't too hot in Tennessee and whatever. And then ask them more questions. What else? I'm thinking about doing a trip like that too. Where else would you suggest I visit? Where else have you gone in the past? And get them to talk, and show sincere interest. You're not interrogating them. You're asking them questions about something that they're sincerely interested in. Julie mentioned Ford, family, occupation, recreation, dreams. That's what Ford stands for. It doesn't, Ford cars, of course, Ford the last name, of course, but
it just helps you. It's a memory jogger. Yeah.
Right. So when you're talking with folks, start out by asking about their family, kids, wife, husband, whatever. Ask about their family. In most cases, when you're talking with somebody, the conversation won't move past that. And remember, try not to have it be pickleball or tennis where it's going back and forth. Have the conversation focus on making that person feel heard and listened to. And the way you do that, that's the skill. Think about what I'm saying. I want you to go back to the question I asked you a second ago. Who in your life has ever made you feel listened to? Who? One hand, I bet you. One hand, I bet you can think of the names of the people that have made you feel listened to. What were the qualities and characteristics that they had? Not how they made you feel, but what were their actual techniques? Maybe they were studied, probably weren't. They probably were just trusting their intuitions. So what does that mean? That means that they were trusting their gut feeling as to what was actually being communicated from you to them, and opposed to them being overly reliant on your words. They were trusting the feeling, or using a younger term, the vibe they were getting from the communication, right? That's what it is. The development of your intuition, of your ability to, you all have it. Everyone was born with it. Okay, this is crazy. So when people say my gut feeling, do you guys actually know that your gut communicates directly with your brain? Did you know that there's essentially neurological cells in your gut that communicate with your brain? So when you say you have a gut feeling, that's real. So if you have a gut feeling about somebody, you don't necessarily have to ask a real intrusive question that's chasing down your intuitive pang, but be sensitive to it and naturally follow where your intuition is telling you to go. Okay, so some of you right now are thinking Tim and Julie are ahead of their skis. Why are we telling you this? Because you all have this innate skill. Not all of you have the innate skill to basically be able to, present a listing presentation when a listing, but all of you internally, God-given, have the ability to communicate and connect with people. You just have never been told the importance of it. And if you don't understand the importance of it, you will, because AI is going to scrape and scrub and eviscerate anything, all analytical thought. Mm-hmm. Oh, Julie doesn't like that, but it's true.
No, what I was thinking is that it's also, I wouldn't say it's all AI, but social media, AI, all of those things, I see it kind of suppressing some of that intuitive tendency that people have. I listened to a podcast the other day talking about how it's not just your six senses. You've got all of these other senses that you don't really realize, and you would call it intuition. But I think that we're getting further away from that. The more we're on screens, the more we have AI doing things for us. And the value of human communication is rising as all of this happens.
But Julie,
you can tell. Go ahead.
The word communication is the black hole of misunderstanding. So you're going to have to define what communication is, because if you say if you take literally what Julie just said, that some of you are going to translate that as more social media, more
Right.
digital
Or
communication. That's
texting.
not what
Yeah.
we're saying. What we're
No,
saying
real
is
world stuff.
what we're saying is you can actually converse with fewer people at a higher level, have a greater impact. Remember, I asked you to think of 5 people that made you feel truly listened to, and many of you are struggling to come up with those 5. Many of you might only come up with 1 or 2. That's called normal, by the way. You need to become one of those 5 for everybody in your centers of influence and past clients. You need to become the person that when they see you from across the hall or at the grocery store, they want to be around you because you made them feel good, because you made them listen to. They felt heard around you. They don't even know why they want to be near you. They just do. You're thinking of an example.
Well, let me give you a real practical, coaching real world example that our coaching clients typically hear after they get good at this. Okay. After a listing appointment where they had to compete, the seller says, the reason I chose you is because I've heard this so many times. You and I used to hear this.
Yep.
You were the only one who asked what was important to us. Now, it's important to not just ask it, but also listen and drill down with additional questions and really, really listen to them. But when you hear that, you're the only one who cared what was important to us. You weren't assumptive that you knew what was important to us, like the other agents that we talked to. Then you're doing a really good job. One of the things that will get you there, 2 things really, and I do this with coaching clients. When you are, say, talking to your past clients, your centers of influence, even when you're doing your lead follow-up, remember the letters MMFI. Make me feel important, meaning them, the person you're talking to. Make them feel important. You said feel. Yes, we teach you scripts to help you with this, but it's more important how they walked away feeling that they were listened to. And also, the other sign that I have them put up is be fascinated by the person you are talking to. Be fascinated by them. Make yourself be interested genuinely and sincerely. One of the ways you can do that is to put your phone down, for example, real world life skills, right? And there's been studies on that just having a phone on the table is distracting to the other person. When we go out to eat, I like to look around and I tell myself, put your phone down, pay attention, be fascinated, ask questions, even when it's just you and me, right? So I look around the restaurant and I notice like how many people are on their phones. They're sitting next to each other. They're eating a meal, but they're fascinated by their phone. What is the message that you're sending when you do that? Is that they're not important enough for you to pay attention to? And I could go on. So back to you.
If you are going to essentially, hi, Julie admonishes me for saying essentially. Here's my list. This is this is my list of the words I'm not allowed to use in the podcast. Essentially is number 1. I showed you guys this a couple of weeks ago.
I gave you alternatives.
I know her alternatives are, here's the deal. In plain English, when you boil it down, bottom line, net. So, all right, net, when you boil it down. Okay.
There you go.
Okay. So here's what we're asking you to consider. In a world where, I'm going to say this again, I'm going to say this in a different way because it seems crazy. All of us were learned to think in terms of, Western education teaches you to think analytically, scientific method, A/B testing, all the rest of it. It teaches you to think black and white, transactional. It does not teach you to think emotionally. It doesn't. There is zero education anywhere being given on how to develop your
emotional intelligence.
Thank you. You read my mind. Okay. Emotional intelligence. It's all about IQ. And in the past, IQ was rewarded. Analytical thinking was rewarded. All the things that,
you were supposed to suppress your emotion, not be emotional. You're just supposed to get the work done.
That's right. Get the work done, grind it out, suffer. AI is going to do all that for you.
It already is if you're paying attention.
And it's true. So how are you going to differentiate yourself? What's your moat? I want you to please set aside your preconceived notions about maybe some of the things that we've said today that don't completely match with your perspective. And I want you to ask yourself that question. What's your moat? Okay. Your castle. What are you going to, are you going to build a moat around your castle? Well, you better, because guess what? AI is coming. It's here. Okay. So about a week ago, all the major AI platforms came out with, they're competing now for video, which is amazing. And so things like Canva and all these other video making platforms are even still making ads and thumbnails and all the rest of it. They're all cooked. I want you, and I did this. Actually, you guys will get a kick out of this. Go to our Instagram, Tim and Julie Harris. Just, you know where it is. And look at the videos that I put up. Oh, Tim and Julie are putting AI videos up. Yep. But I want you to see the quality of the videos. And each of those videos took me 15 to 20 seconds to make. I put videos of my 86-year-old mom riding a bull. I put videos of my 86-year-old mother
Walking on the moon.
walking on the
What
moon.
else?
She
Lots
was
of cool stuff.
running. She was in Palermo running with the bulls.
You made her a Navy SEAL, I
I
think.
made her a Navy SEAL, and she was forward deployed with her, her gun, shooting at bad guys, the whole thing. It was hilarious, amazing. Why am I sharing this with you? We have been doing our best to tactfully, respectfully warn all of you this was going to happen. And if you listen to all of our podcasts, especially the ones since really last probably 24 to 36 months, we knew AI was going to be a thing. But and we knew that AI was going to, hold on, now I'd say rug pull. We knew AI was going to blindside all the agents who had been overly dependent on social media, thinking that their advantage would be with social media, videos, being creative with videos, being creative with all these different forms of digital, communication, let's say. Well, not anymore. Because now everybody and their brother and their cat, I'm thinking about making my mom an influencer. Just, 86-year-old woman
For
goes
fun.
and exactly, right? Whatever. Everyone and their brother and their cat and their 86-year-old mom are going to be able to create social media that is indistinguishable from real life, cinematic, ridiculous resolution. Go look on our Instagram and you'll be able to, hopefully be entertained by all of them. Additionally, most of you who have been reliant on buying leads, you're cooked too, because the leads are going to become more expensive. The referral fees obviously are going to increase. There's just going to be more and more competition. Where's all this lead? AI is going to completely change all the rules. It already is. And I want you not to be surprised when this happens. I don't want you to wait around and say, let's see if Tim and Julie are right. You don't have to wait around anymore. The jury's in. Research this yourself.
But also, AI can't call your past clients in Sphere for you.
Yeah,
It's
it
not
can't.
going to do that.
So this is where and if you think about this, so how are ultimately you going to make yourself differentiated in the marketplace? It's exactly what we've been sharing with you on this podcast. It's going to be your ability to have real life communication, voice to voice, belly to belly, not AI to AI, not digital to digital, not a bunch of Instagram videos and all the rest of it. You can do all that stuff until the cows come home. Your real ability, your real moat, the only way forward that we can conceive of is going to be learning how to speak, learning how to communicate, learning how to listen. You have to make the people feel listened to, which means you're going to have to learn how to listen and communicate that you are listening. It'll feel contrived and fake at first, everything when you're learning anything new, because it's not naturally part of you. But over time, Julie, you got ready for the 4 stages of learning? Over time, or 4 stages of mastery, you're going to learn it, you're going to master it, and you're going to make it part of yourself, and then it's going to feel intuitive. Be clear. I'm going to say this for the 3rd time because it's really important you understand. As we march forward, and we're now in this real estate singularity, and AGI, all the things, right? Become normalized. Where are you going to protect your commissions? Where are you going to protect your business? Where are you going to be able to earn money? It's going to be your ability to be yourself, doing what you hopefully love doing, which is helping other people at the highest level, learning how to talk with them. The feeling that you will leave with them, this was my point, this was Julie's point, of being listened to and being heard and being appreciated is the ultimate USP, unique selling proposition. It's the ultimate way to make it so that you have built a moat. And many, many people in society won't understand what I'm saying and certainly won't take the time to learn how to do it. They're just going to continue on talking like they always have. And that's, unfortunate for them. And I don't know what'll happen with them. They're not listening to this podcast. You guys are. You're the folks that we have decided to be of service to. So here's the good news. It'll feel natural over time, but understand you're going to have to learn it. And there are 4 stages of learning or 4 stages of mastery, and they go like
And they all sound the same. So I'll clarify and make this easy on everyone. The first one is unconscious incompetence. Unconscious incompetence. That means you don't know what you don't know. Maybe you don't know that this was an issue for you before. You just do what you do and you talk how you talk. The second stage is what we're talking about today, becoming consciously incompetent of certain things. I need to get better at. I am conscious of my incompetence about X, Y, and Z. I am consciously incompetent speaking Spanish most of the time, but I'm aware of it. Okay. I'm working on it. This is when most people go to coaching in some way. Okay. Then after some training, after some upgrading your skills, learning some scripts, being intentional about things, you become consciously competent. I'm working on it. I'm getting better. That's conscious competence. Maybe you're not completely competent all the time, but you know how to work on it and you are systematically working on it. You're improving your skills.
We teach this in coaching. So you'll develop techniques. That's really what it comes down to.
Yes.
It's not just asking questions, but again, it's going to feel fake at first. I promise you, but you will make it.
How and what you ask the questions.
Right. So when somebody says something, you pause and you repeat what they say. Or there's other variations of that, but the gist of it is that you're supposed to slow yourself down so that they know you are listening. Now you're thinking to yourself, well, I never listen to what people are saying. You're consciously realizing
you're becoming consciously competent.
Exactly. Thank you. We're tripping over these terms. Okay. But you're now realizing that you are not communicating with people the way this new world's going to require that you to communicate. You're not developing the intuitive strengths to feel what they're saying, because that's ultimately where we're going with this. It's not listening to the words. It is listening to the words. It's not translating what they're saying into a response. It's feeling. I know this sounds woo-woo, but this is really where it's going. It's feeling what they're saying. You're listening to the analytical, the actual articulation of what they're saying, but then you're feeling what they're saying. That's where you get to the highest level of communication.
Which is called unconscious competence, just to round out number 4. Because you've practiced it so many times and you have worked on that intuition and you're asking better questions and listening deeper and digging deeper, you now are getting this, how maybe it's been a while for some people, how you have a really great conversation or you listen to a podcast. Hopefully sometimes that happens to you listening to us, but you say, gosh, that was really valuable. That's unconscious competence. Some of you listening who are great listing agents, you're very competitive. Many of you are coaching clients of ours. You've worked on it. You have those conversations with your sellers who end up loving you not because you did everything so, textbook, but because you've gotten good at this. You've practiced pre-qualifying them in the first place, so you know what you're walking into for the appointment. You know about what they're going to say. You even know when they're going to say it. You might even know which spouse is going to say what. And because of that, you have a really great presentation. And when you walk away with that signature, they say, oh my gosh, I feel like we're in such good hands. This is going to be fine. I'm not nervous about this move anymore. That's how you know you're doing a great job. But between here and there's usually a lot of skills and development and practice. And that's why those two in between stages, conscious and competence, oh my gosh, there's something called a buyer presentation. God, I would do so much better if I actually had a presentation, didn't just ask for that signature. Then now I'm conscious that I need to work on it. I get my act together and I have some appointments and I get better and better and I see what works and what didn't work. Then I become consciously competent. Most of the time, I'm doing a great job, not because I say so, but because my prospect says so. Now I'm working that conscious competence. And ultimately, those of you who have a predictable, duplicatable business that can scale up or down based on how you operate are unconsciously competent. You've worked it, but it does take work. If you're not thinking about this, if you're not being intentional, you are relying on luck, hopium, and your personality. And that'll get you only so far.
The basis of this is some simple rules. And this is where you're coming out of the unconsciously incompetent phase, the first phase. And you're realizing that you are transactional in the manner in which you communicate with everyone, your spouse, your dog, your kids, right? It's all about, just moving the ball forward, not actually connecting with people. The real connection is where the future is going to be for the agents that are frankly going to be the dominant agents in the marketplace. It's not more marketing. It's not more social media. It's not lower commission or what all those things. It's going to be how you make the other person feel when you've communicated with them, how you made them feel listened to. So,
Make me feel important. Be
right,
fascinated by them.
you're going to, people will, I guess, let's end today's show, Julie, with this one thought.
Mhm.
People will they'll forget about what you said. You guys will forget about what we said on the show. You will. I know you will. We've been doing coaching and training forever, but you won't forget about how you felt listening to today's show, right? How did you feel as a result of of someone talking with you or you talking with someone else? The feel part is where the AI can't compete. That's the point. The feel part is what makes anything special. The feel part is why this is #4 podcast on iTunes in real estate, because you guys feel something after listening to this podcast. Usually, based on the 5-star reviews, it's mostly good. Occasionally, people leave bad comments about Julie. I don't know why, but it happens. I'm kidding. It's always Tim talks too fast, or I'm so sick of Tim talking about EXP,
Keep
right?
saying essentially all the time.
He says essentially all the time, and good golly, Miss Molly, enough with a rug pulled. Yeah, but the point of it is they'll remember how you made them feel. They won't remember what you said. You put all your focus and emphasis on what you're saying. And I'm telling you right now, with beyond a shadow of a doubt, that it's going to 100% now and going forward, it's how you made them feel, not just what you said, because the AI is going to say whatever you've been saying 10 times better. The AI is going to answer all their questions 10 times better. And okay, I got something else cray for you guys. And I've been thinking about a lot, and I didn't tell you about this, Julie, and I don't want to take the show any longer, but personally, I think the interfaces that we're used to now with icons and screens and all this crap to communicate with AI, I think they're obsolete already. I don't think there's going to be any communication going forward that's going to be primarily non-audio or video, as in you talking to an AI person. The days and your interface.
I almost exclusively, because Gemini's on my phone, I almost always speak to it instead of type.
Right. You're naturally, and you're somebody that's generally slow to, adapt to technology, as most people are.
Yeah.
So the interfaces that we have are going to be with AI faces having conversations. Why am I telling you this? Because the expectation is that when I want to have a question with a conversation with my AI, I'm not going to open up my phone, put in my password, find my icon, click on Chat GPT or click on Grok or whatever, and then enter into the thing. No, that's already like too many steps. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just talk to it. And I might be talking to it through glasses, earbuds, a wearable. It's going to communicate with me. And it's going to be like a friend. And it's going to ask me questions about, oh, I noticed you've been looking for real estate. Are you still looking for a house over and wherever? Or it's going to talk to you about, I know last night your body temperature is a little risen. Have you been, maybe it thinks you're getting an infection. Who knows? The point being is that the new expectation that humans will have is of analytical conversations happening free form all the freaking time. So if your ability to show your value through doing a kick-ass CMA is what you thought was one of your indelible USPs, you're cooked. I'm not saying don't do a kick-ass CMA.
Well, you have to. It's required, but that can't be your only thing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not your exclusive list of buyers, Mr. Seller, that nobody else has, or it's not your exclusive list of off-market listings that nobody else has. This is the greatest, hilarious, most stupidest thing. So you guys thinking that off-market listings in these brokerages that have their little secret bucket of houses for sale are somehow going to give them an advantage over long term? No way. Oh, what are you talking about, Tim? AI can't go behind. It has to have a username and password. All right, I'm going to tell you guys something right now. Sorry, I promised you I wasn't going to talk about AI, but I'm going to give you a one-upments for all of you who've arrogantly assumed that coming soon listings are going to somehow protect a brokerage model or an agent's team model. You can right now, through Grok, through Chat GPT, any of the AIs, all of them have tools that will live on your desktop. And if I've got it on mine right now. If I log into any website, I'm logged in, I can go to AI and then I can ask the AI, because I'm already logged in through my Chrome browser, to go and essentially use all of the tools that I had at my fingertips had I been the one doing it. In other words, it's logged in. So if you think that AI is not going to have constant logins for all of these, like, Compass's exclusive home search thing that you have to work with the Compass agent to get access to. You're crazy. Of course it is. And so that means what they're going to do, buyers are going to go to their AI first. Julie's is called, what's yours called?
Matilda.
She's going to go to Matilda and she's going to say, we're thinking about buying a house in Columbus, Ohio, in the Brewery District, or someplace to stay when we're there visiting with family or whatever. Let me know when something comes available. AI is going to go to all the search portals that you can think of. It's going to go to all the off markets that you can't think of because maybe you don't know all of them. And the only off market that's going to matter is the agent that just walked out of the seller's house with a listing contract signed and they haven't put it on a website yet. As soon as it's on a website, even if it's behind a paywall or a login wall, AI is going to find out about it. And then Matilda's just going to tell Julie about all the properties that are for sale. And then Matilda's not going to be tripped up by the tomfoolery that happens with these portals trying to fool the buyer into thinking that the buyer's agent who's paying for those leads is the actual agent. Matilda's going to know who the actual listing agent is. And guess whose contact information that Julie's going to get from Matilda if she's interested in that property? It's not going to be the buyer agent who's paying Zillow for the lead. It's not going to be the premier agent. It's going to be the listing agent. This is where it all is going. I'm not projecting or giving you guys a dystopian version of the future. I'm giving a version of the future which should all be incredibly obvious to all of you. That's what AI is going to do to our industry. And hallelujah, that's what I truthfully think, because it means the agents that have the real skills, the listing agents who have the real listings, are going to, frankly, be in the position that they should have been in all the way along without, sorry, Julie, all these, portals rug pulling them.
You snuck one in there, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Again, open your mind to what we're saying. All we're asking you to do is stop being so reliant on digital and start and embrace the opportunity for you to become the highest and truest purpose of yourself, being of service to other people, actually learning how to communicate. If I were you, no matter whether you're young or old, I would be incredibly excited about that, because the emotional resonance and response you'll get and how it'll make you feel when you're communicating with people at the highest level will be what all of you have been searching for. That will be the sense of satisfaction and the sense of accomplishment, because you'll actually be communicating. Remember, I asked you, who are the 5 people that made you ever feel communicated and heard and listened to in your life? What if all of a sudden you become one of those people, not just for 5 people? What if you become that person for hundreds of people, because you have mastered the art and the science and the skill of learning how to truly connect with folks? That's what we're suggesting. Look, we're all learning all of this together, or relearning all of it, or frankly, reconnecting with all of it. It's all intuitive in all of us. We're not asking you to learn how to play the medieval flute, right? We're asking you to absolutely positively open your mind to the fact that you can be more successful now because of AI than you ever could have been before. Remember, subscribe to our newsletter, harrisrealestatedaily.com. It is our free newsletter. If you love the communication from today's podcast, not only subscribe to the newsletter, but please do give us a 5-star review over on iTunes, Spotify, or Stitcher, along with a pithy comment why specifically you like the show. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, and we will talk with you on the show tomorrow. Hello, thank you for having watched this video. Please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
That's right. And don't forget to hit that like button, leave your comments and questions below, and we will get right back with you.
Thank you for watching this video. And remember to watch the next one. You're going to love that one.